Hello, everybody. All right. So as always, if you haven't already, for those who may be here, if you haven't already, you guys can like and share the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, Rick, how'd your day go today?
Not too bad. Could have been better, but I guess it could have been worse too. I went up this morning and there was snow on the ground. Actually, it was snowing quite bad. Well, not super bad, because it depends on where you are. For here, I think it was bad, but you know,
Hmm.
I look out the window now and I don't see a drop of snow on the ground. So
Hmm.
that's good.
And
And
Elkid
hello,
Antioch said, yeah. Hail Zenu and Xena, glory be thy names. All right. Anyways, um, so this is what's on tap for tonight. So as we did cover one of the recent passings in the world of professional wrestling last night, Bounding into Comics had another article up today in regards to the other passing that I had mentioned, the one of Virgil, Mike Jones. Um, and then Rick, this is directed at you, so you might want to read this.
yes, I did. I registered for it. Um, But the problem was I wasn't an Acme agent yet, so I wasn't able to stay in the call, and I guess I need to become an Acme agent or whatever, and I might be able to go to one of those Zoom meetings.
Okay, so
I
so
think
with
they
that,
sent me something, but I'm
oh,
not sure.
all right. So as I was saying though, tonight of course we're gonna go over Bounding into Comics article in regards to the passing of Virgil, aka Mike Jones, Virgil Vincent Soul Train Jones, among the many different names he'd used over his career. Um, Also, we'll do the wrestling wrap again. If we do kind of get through that article quickly enough, we'll see if we can find another article to go over. Got quite a bit of wrestling news to go over in the wrestling wrap up, including, of course, Sting's retirement match at last night's Revolution pay per view, and then, of course, the This Day Needs History segment at the very end. Um,
I don't know who I was talking to in the call, but that was quick because well, they wanted to get on with their meeting, and I wasn't allowed to be there because I wasn't an agent. So I've still got, and you're right, something comes better than none. So I've got to get on that, and that's something I'll either do after this stream or tomorrow morning before I go out for a bit to do a couple things.
all right. So, with all that being said, again, one more reminder: if you haven't already, for those in the chat, you can like and share the screen. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. With all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started with our main article tonight? As I said, depending on how fast we get through it, we might even go and search out a secondary article. But now I did mention this last night as well. So there were a couple of passings that happened this past week. We went over the article in regards to um, Ole Anderson last night on the panel, and today Bounding into Comics came out with an article on Virgil, the Michael Jones, aka Virgil from WWE fame, Vincent from WCW fame. So, anyways, WWE wrestler and beloved cornerman Michael Virgil Jones passes away after long health battles. Article by J.B. Augustine, published March 4th, 2024. So, um, let's see. And Rick, I know you said you usually will try to help me by keeping an eye on the chat as well. So,
Yeah.
all right, 2024 um, is only 2 full months old, and it's already been an eventful year for the realm of pain known as pro wrestling. The sad part is all the big news revolves around a tidal wave of death, scandal, and tragedy. One that keeps getting stronger and more devastating. Yeah. One of the other things that, of course, they have another article on here, but I'm choosing not to cover it. It's story of Billy Jack Haynes apparently being arrested for the possible murder of his wife. Billy Jack Haynes, a former WWE star from back in the 80s. Um, but we won't cover that story. But this is the one in regards to Virgil passing away. So, and there's, I guess, what Virgil looks like now in more recent times here.
Or did.
Virgil has serious health issues via um, Hannibal TV. So, um, let's see. Oh, so let's see what. Yeah, I hope you do. Oh, this is again directed
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, I read that.
All right. Yeah. So, anyways, all right, so getting back to the article here. In the last month, we have seen a host of controversial legends say their last goodbyes to either life on this mortal coil or to their freedom. The latest man claimed by that Tempest is a legend known better for his exploits in the corner of his associates than in the ring. And his loss is sure to crush many a diehard fan of 80s WWE. Michael Jones, better known to Vince McMahon's audience internationally as Virgil, died on Wednesday after years of an up and down struggle with his health. He was only 61. This news was confirmed on his official social media account, including Instagram.
Cool. Well, not cool that he died, but good that they let people know.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure his family and family and those closest to him were that's what they were doing. This is to confirm the sad news about our beloved meat sauce god and wrestling superstar Virgil Michael Jones has passed away. Unquote. The post reads. Quote: There is so much to say here, and would love to share stories, but for now it's a rough day as our friend is gone. Unquote. It goes on, quote, we would only ask at this time to remember him as the man that he was, wishing him all the unlimited pasta in heaven. We love you, Mike. So I guess he loved pasta quite a bit.
Yeah.
And there he
Well,
is during his time as and I guess Jake the Snake kind of chimed in with Virgil with the $1 million belt right there.
well, unfortunately, as of now, he's passed on. Okay, not the best, but
All right. Um, Jones's contemporaries are pouring out their hearts on their socials for their deceased friend. Quote, shocked and saddened to hear the news about Virgil, unquote, wrote superstar Jake the Snake Roberts on Instagram. Quote, rest in peace, my friend. Of course, Jake the Snake was one of the guys who was around in the WWE at the time when they were
that
they were
Virgil
in the
operated.
WWE together. Yeah.
Actually, I think he was there before Virgil, and was he there after? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how long.
He left before Virgil because he left in '92 and went to WCW for a brief stint. Actually, had a very brief feud with Sting. Um, Of course, now Jake Roberts is a manager in AEW. He manages Lance Archer and the tag team known as the Righteous.
Oh, yeah.
In
I could have sworn
AEW.
he was there for a bit when Virgil was there, but
Yeah, well, Virgil got there, I believe it was probably in 87, 88, because Virgil
oh
came
yeah,
in just after Ted DiBiase did, because he initially came in as DiBiase's valet when they were doing the whole $1 million man gimmick.
yeah.
So yeah. So anyways, as we continue on here, um, oh yeah, rest in peace, my friend. And then, quote, R.I.P. Virgil, thanks for being a great sport during our shenanigans and for the memories. See you down the road, good brother, unquote, said current WWE and NXT wrestler Luke Gallows on Twitter. Luke Gallows, one half of course, one half of the tag
Bushwhackers?
team. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Rick.
No, I was guessing the Bushwhackers for Luke
No,
Gallows.
not the Bushwhackers. No, the Bushwhackers were Butch Miller and Luke Williams.
Okay. Well, Luke was one of their names.
Luke Gallows is a current WWE star.
uh, and
I'm just,
hello,
I can't,
go
I just,
away.
for whatever reason, I can't. He and Carl Anderson are a team. They're part of the Bullet Club faction in the WWE with AJ Styles, but I just can't remember their tag team name right now. That's the only
Uh,
thing. But
and
anyway,
hello, go away, aka Captain.
say what was it?
Oh, go Captain Infinity, aka Go Aways in the chat. He puts a
Oh, okay.
turkey, some sort of bird, or oh, is that a cocktail? He's drinking a
Hello, Captain
cocktail.
Kennedy.
Listening.
Welcome to the chat. If you haven't already, of course, you can help out by liking, sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. With that, let's continue on with the article here. Let's see. Quote, R.I.P. Virgil, Mike Jones, unquote. AEW and WWE veteran Matt Hardy of the Hardy Boys fame posted, quote, Virgil was a funny. Oh, go ahead, Rick.
Nothing. I just hiccuped
It
or
sounded
something.
like you were about to start to say something, so.
No.
Okay. Quote, Virgil was a funny, unique individual that was always cool to me, and I'm saddened to hear about his passing. My thoughts go out to his family, friends, and fans. Now, the two of them, I don't think the two of them actually work together. Well, I don't think they work together in the same company. Well, by the time Matt and Jeff became a big deal in the WWE, Virgil may have been a producer agent for the WWE at the time, because during Virgil's career, they would have still been coming up, and I do know Jeff as Surge and maybe Matt as well. Probably worked with him as enhancement talent before they became so big. Well, I guess there's a picture of the two of them right there. So,
Yeah. I'm sure, even in the different leagues, I'm sure they, would have met each other or whatever,
yeah.
and acquaintance at least, various places, went out to a bar to hang out or something, that out for dinner or whatever, something like that.
Yeah. Quote, R.I.P. Michael Virgil Jones. Our interactions always friendly and very memorable. Godspeed, sir, unquote, wrote TNA mainstay Frankie Kazarian. Oh, you know how we were going over that one article about Elias and how he's now going, about the professional wrestlers now going out, preaching the gospel and preaching the good news.
Yeah.
How we went with that article last night? Not funny.
Yes.
I was watching one of the ring data videos earlier, and supposedly, Randy Orton and John Cena are supposedly Christians, or at least that's what they were listed as on the ring data thing in terms of their religion.
Yeah, well, they could be Christian in terms of their religion, but not really following. If you
Yeah.
get,
Um, I just, anyways, um, TNA got in on the tributes by dedicating the most recent episode of Impact to Jones and Ole Anderson, who also passed on this week. We were, of course, just talking about that. Jones started his WWE career as the manservant of, or valet, depending on how you want to put it. Um, quote, the $1 Million Man, unquote, Ted DiBiase. After a few years, he would turn on DiBiase and win the nefarious Money Man's precious $1 Million Championship, which we saw earlier, in that picture earlier. Though not officially sanctioned, the belt has been a fixture of WWE storylines to this day. Yeah, I mean, even during Ted DiBiase's son, Ted DiBiase Jr., was wrestling for the WWE. He would actually hold it for a while there. They brought it
yeah,
back.
is it still a thing? Is it a thing, or is it long gone?
Not at this point because there's nobody connected. There's nobody, I think, on the WWE roster right now who's actually connected to the $1 Million Man. Nobody, nobody that he's managed. I mean, I don't even know if DiBiase at the moment is even working with. He may be on a Legends contract, in which he'll make appearances here and there, but he's not. I don't think he's an active participant in anything
Yeah,
they're doing right now. So, oh, I was really sad to hear that, unquote, said DiBiase of his old friend's passing on the Everybody's Got a Pod podcast. The retired $1 Million Man recalled how the two were introduced before they were paired together on TV. Um, quote, Mike Jones is Virgil's real name, or was Virgil's real name, unquote. Yes, he said via WrestlingNews.com. Um, quote, now the thing is, he went by the name Soul Train Jones in Memphis before coming to the WWE. So
yeah,
some people might, and you probably heard me mention that before too. Quote, we met in the WWE office when this whole thing with the $1 Million Man started. Back then, Mike had this tremendous body and kept himself in shape, and eventually that was his role. Now, granted, you look at him as he was back then. He was in good shape.
yeah,
Some people might say that the health issues he had the last few years. Now, I haven't heard anything in regard to him like doing. I don't think he ever did steroids. He was just a guy who was just was very in good.
yeah. He worked out on a constant basis, so he had good muscles.
Yeah. So, well, and that's a lot of lean athletic. You look at that too. That's more lean athletic muscle. That's not bulky like weightlifter muscle right there. That's lean athletic muscle. You
Yeah,
know, if you look at it,
yeah. But by saying he went to the gym, I don't mean he was, like overdoing it or whatever and getting
yeah,
to be a
he wasn't
bodybuilder.
quote unquote a gym rat as some people would put it, or he wasn't
Yeah,
somebody like let's say a Hogan or Luger or Scott Steiner or anybody like
yeah,
that. Um, he continued, quote, he was the bodyguard. I would run my mouth, and if somebody wanted to say something, I would back up and say, in smaller quotes, Virgil, take over. We did a thing where basically as Virgil, he gets tired of my crap and says, quote, I'm not doing it anymore. Um, on smaller quote, we ended up having a match. Basically, it got to the point where and you could see where they were going with it. It was kind
yeah,
of drawing on some like old like master servant issues. Basically treating you know DiBiase as the villainous $1 Million Man gimmick. He would of course get people to do things like like lick his shoes or clean the the dog doo doo off his shoes or something like that. And you know, Yeah, but anyways, DiBiase recalled Jones's look and ring ability, saying, "quote Mike was a great guy, a nice guy. To keep your body in that kind of shape takes a lot of discipline, and he was very good at that. He was much better at doing that than I obviously was in terms of keeping his body in great shape. I just wish that he had more wrestling savvy." Virgil gives a tour of where he lives via Hannibal. So this is probably one of his last interviews with Hannibal TV, which is a pretty well-known interview YouTuber. In terms of Hannibal TV does a lot of wrestling interviews with a lot of the guys. Uh, though the two remained friends, DiBiase kept some distance between himself and Virgil at conventions because of outlandish comments the latter kept making to fans. He would later hear about his partner's health problems and living situation, which he didn't think was right. Quote, later, I did find out, I can't remember the guy's name that was his caretaker, but he was seeking to, he was seeing to it that he was taken care of a little bit better. I just don't know. It's mind-boggling to me because I don't know who he was living with or how he was living, but I know that it was not good. It's just a sad story, and it does also kind of go to show you. I mean, we've heard many tales over the years of some wrestler and some wrestling personalities of some of of sometimes they disappear into obscurity, sometimes they get forgotten, and like because people would say, well, he worked for the WWE, he should be like super rich and all that. Not always. Yeah,
It
maybe
depends on what they did with the
Penrith
money.
really got rich, but a
Depends on
lot
what
of
they did with the money.
a lot of the mid carders, a lot of the mid carders, you know, they would have probably unless they were real savvy with their money, could have burned through that cash pretty quick, you know. But
Yeah, yeah, that's sort of what I'm saying. Depends what they did with their money, whether they invested it or not, or spent it foolishly. But
yeah.
also the thing here, and I'm not, I'm not sure. Makes to me like DiBiase is pointing out that Virgil might have been gay. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading things into this that shouldn't be there.
Say what? I mean, I didn't even see anything. What made
He got.
okay? What from what we
It's
read?
just
What
well, just know the last couple paragraphs there down.
the last?
The other side, yeah, it was just in here.
So
It's
the
just
two remaining friends, DiBiase kept some distance between himself and Virgil at conventions because of outlandish comments
yeah,
the latter kept making to out. Well, that could be
it,
anything. He
it's
would
more
later
here.
hear.
Not so much.
Oh, we're talking about
We would
he would
later hear
later
about
hear about his partner's health problems and living
and
situation,
living
which he,
situation which he didn't think was right. And then there's a little bit more
okay,
going
okay,
into
hold on. The context there was not in terms of because basically what DiBiase is saying there. Read it a little closer, Rick.
yeah,
He was
I get
his
that.
partner.
Look,
In other words, what I think DiBiase was saying when
yeah, I get that he's saying by
he was indicating that
hold on. I get what he's saying partner that he means him, Virgil and him. But the living situation itself and he didn't think it was right. And then, to add on to it, there's a little bit more of it. He didn't know who he was living with or how he was living, but I know it was not good. Maybe I'm reading into it wrong. Maybe I'm not. I don't
you
know.
might be reading a little too deep into it because basically it's like
I guess
just because somebody may have a male caretaker, a man has a male caretaker, doesn't mean that he's gay. Okay,
yeah,
if
true,
anything,
true, true.
in Christian perspective,
Yeah,
that that might be actually considered proper as opposed to having a female caretaker. It's like,
Yeah. I know that, but it's just some of the way the wording is that made me think it might have been. And I'm not trying to bash anybody for it. I'm just saying, what it made me think. And I'm admitting that I could be completely out in left field or right field or somewhere beyond the fields.
I think you may have read a little too deep into it, and I think what really threw you off was the use of the word partner there. And
No,
in this
no, the,
particular
the
case,
partner thing didn't do anything to me in that. I know
because I
exactly what he
know
meant.
some people might see partner. There are people out there who might see partner and might make that jump. Well, because he's
Yeah.
utilizing the word
The
partner.
partner didn't make me jump there because I knew he was talking about his partner in the wrestling thing because they were partners. It was like a tag team partner,
Yeah,
except they weren't exactly a tag team.
they were like
And,
business partners, is what he was saying there. But
yeah, and I recognize that's what that word meant there right
yeah,
away.
okay. But you're saying which he didn't think was right. Well, the context of that particular statement could have been that maybe the fact that he was
Yeah,
in a situation, he was in a the part there. If that's what kind of tripped you up or made you think that maybe he was gay, well, I think in the context here, the context is more what DiBiase probably didn't think was right was that Virgil was in this situation to begin with, that
yeah,
he was in such bad health that he couldn't get himself taken care of, considering that, again, going back to what I was saying before about the fact that a lot of people think, well, he was in the WWE, how can he be in the situation when WWE is one of the most financially successful
yeah.
companies in the world? I mean, how does that happen? I
Well,
think that's what
well,
he was saying.
first of all, I don't think they were making a great amount of money when Virgil was there. They were making a fair bit, but not as much as some of them are today.
Well,
Second of all, DiBiase might not know the exact amount that guy was making per match, but he'd have a better idea than me or you.
but DiBiase was
And
making more. But actually, it's kind of funny you said that about the whole idea that they weren't making as much money, because actually at that time, you know, the late '80s to early '90s, right there,
yeah,
as a whole industry, professional wrestling was struggling, financially. Okay. In fact, I remember Arn Anderson talking about this on one of his podcasts, where because there was Arn, along with his tag partner at the time, Tully Blanchard, went to the WWE for 1 year from late '88 to like maybe late '89, early '90, right? So about a year, a little
yeah,
over a year, in which he was with the WWE with Tully Blanchard, and he had talked about how after towards the end of that 1 year, Arn was I guess Vince hadn't been paying the wrestlers as much as they should have been paid, and Arn when their contract came up, Arn and Tully decided they were going to honor their contract and then go back to
where they
what
could
was
get
now
actually
WCW,
paid.
you know um but you know
Yeah.
let's see,
I just know that yeah, it was starting to make its way, if you will, as something that would make money. It wasn't until I think late '90s, early thousands that it really took
right,
off to make money.
yeah, yeah. Well, and if you're going on the premise here, in terms of like, don't know who he was living with or how he was living, but I know that it was not good. It's just a sad. But the
Yeah,
context there could have simply been that he was
yeah,
living in squalor. He may have, maybe he should have been, maybe, I think,
yeah.
I don't,
And like I said, like I said to begin with, I could have read it wrong. I could be reading too much into it. I'm not saying it isn't. Just to me, it sounded weird that he would say it, and especially like that or whatever. And and like I freely admit that it could be me just could be exactly what you said. That it's more just a situation.
Made sandwich, ate sandwich, came back. Yeah, so
Cool.
I guess we're on the last paragraph here of this article. So um, I'm looking back at it from where I am now. He never would say that to me, but he didn't want anyone to know that he was struggling. Unquote. The legend added about Virgil's health and situation. The cause of death hasn't been disclosed, but it was claimed that Jones' social media that he was suffering from dementia and colon cancer after two strokes, which has been documented in some of the recent news stories. You know, he'd had some pretty serious health problems in the last
Uh,
few years here.
and see with this new little bit of information, I guess I was makes it even more sound like that I was reading into it wrong.
Mm-hmm. So let me just. So we're at the 31-minute mark now. So let me just take a quick peek to see if there's
Gander,
to see if there's anything that
you think
that
might be
will only take us 5 to 10 minutes to get through because we did this last week too, where I was trying to keep it in an hour. Okay, we finished about half hour in with the article, and then we get into another article, and it took longer than the first article.
yeah.
So there's nothing here on. There's only been one story added there, and that's not anything I think we would cover here. So I'm going to go over to Bleeding Pool here and look up in the comic book section. See if there's something there. Look for a release, maybe a release information. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Just focus on the
Let's,
last couple of days.
let's
How
try
woke?
not to find something too controversial. Hopefully,
Well, yeah. I mean, how woke could a comic book
how
that
about Farscape launches a 25th anniversary comic on Kickstarter?
good riddance, James Tynion, a fourth done with superhero comics. So, um, the 25th and all right. Well, here, let's do this one. We'll do this one, and then we can always do the other one tomorrow.
Alex says, yeah, Farscape.
Well, that one again should be another like just 5 to 10 minute one because that one sounds more like a release type article than an editorial article. So,
Yeah, and
Farscape,
that's half why I said it.
yeah, Farscape launches a 25th anniversary comic on Kickstarter. Article by Chris Bray, published uh, March. Well, okay, I think it's March 3rd, which is supposed to be yesterday, but that looks like a 5 right there. The way they typed it in there.
It looks like a 3 to me, but
Yeah. Well, it could be either way. Cause, you
yeah.
know. All right. So, 25 years ago, which of course from this point, 25 years ago would be 1999, I believe. The groundbreaking space opera Farscape debuted on television, bucking decades of science fiction tropes, breaking new technical ground coupled with ambitious storytelling and inspiring generations of fans in the process.
And I actually I watched every single episode. I didn't watch it as much as I wanted to when it was first airing. I went back in the last 5 years and watched every episode. And Alex says, my friend was saying we should watch Farscape on our sci-fi Sunday viewings. Yeah, I'm not sure whether you've seen Farscape or not, the whole thing or not. Elk, I should say. But I think it's a very good series, especially where it's doing the whole puppets or Muppets or whatever you want to say. I think Jim Henson was involved in the rigging of the puppets or Muppets, whatever you want to call on it.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen it? It's good. I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, it just never really caught my attention.
Yeah.
Just it never caught Farscape never really caught my attention. So, anyways, now Boom Studios, in partnership with the Jim Henson Company, proudly celebrates the legacy of Moya's crew with a brand new 25th anniversary comic book special alongside a complete two-volume book set collecting the entirety of the Boom Studios Farscape library,
Ooh.
along, along with commemorative collectibles in the Farscape 25th anniversary celebration. Boom Direct Reserve campaign, previously written by show creator Rockney S. O'Bannon. Boom Studios, Farscape comic books were an official extension of the storytelling of the original show.
Oh, that's good, and it's really good that they got their show's creator to do the comics. That gives a more authenticity to the
Mm-hmm.
comic. I would think.
Yeah.
I would hope.
Well, that yeah, you probably would see that whenever you have adaptations, either either like film TV to comic or comic to film TV.
Yeah.
It's always good when you have the creator involved, and we talked a lot about that with manga to TV adaptations, right? Manga to
Yeah.
anime and TV adaptations. So um, this
Or movie
commemor-
adaptations.
this commemorative campaign celebrating everyone's favorite crew of outlaw space bandits and the living ship they call home follows successful campaigns for the Dark Crystal 40th Anniversary Library and the complete Jim Henson's Labyrinth graphic novel collection.
Cool.
And then there's I guess, the book right there.
Is Farscape owned by Disney now? They own Jim Henson's other stuff. I do not know.
I wouldn't know either.
I'll try and check it out. Hopefully, uh, so is for owned by Disney.
Oh boy, we lost Rick there. He must have accidentally. Hopefully, he comes back. I guess he was. Hopefully, he'll come back soon. Oh, anyways, I just send him a quick message. Let's see. After sending that message, let's see if. Yep. What happened?
Oh, I went to try and look up that information, and when I clicked, hit enter, my browser crashed.
Uh, all right. So anyway, let's get back to the article here. Um, reserve your copy of Farscape Book 1 and Book 2 25th Anniversary Editions in softcover, hardcover, slip-cased hardcover, signed slip-cased hardcover, and hyper-limited character edition. slipcases featuring John Crichton, Aaron Sun, Dominar Rigel, Cadargo, uh, Chiana, and Zoto Zan. Um, each collected edition offered through this Boom Direct Reserve campaign will feature exclusive cover art by popular cover illustrator. Man, got something like itching my nose there. Justine Florentino, Magic the Gathering, and Firefly. Um, Additionally, this Boom Direct Reserve campaign will feature a campaign exclusive cover for the upcoming Farscape 25th Anniversary Special, number one, by Red Hot illustrator Nimit Malavia, who also was involved with Fables, Firefly, and The Dark Tower, featuring brand new adventures set in the universe of Farscape by iconic creators um, such as Sam Humphries, Francisco Mortarino, Sarah Galley, and Zach Thompson, the first new Farscape stories published in over a decade. Um, all right, so before I do that, I'm going to go off camera here for a quick moment, Rick. So if you want to talk to
Okay.
everybody chat for a moment, I'll be right back.
I'm just trying to look up who does own the rights to. Let's see. It was Australian. It's an Australian American science fiction television series. Okay, I did not know that.
All right, I'm back.
The series was conceived by, well, you probably just read this, and produced by Jim Henson. So,
All right, so anyways, also available will be a campaign exclusive cover for Farscape number one, archive edition, also by Malavia, reprinting of the very first Farscape comic published by Boom Studios.
on the wiki, it says the production companies were Hallmark and the Jim Henson Company. So,
Well, it might be, but if Jim Henson Company owns Farscape, and Jim Henson is now owned by Disney. So it's likely that the Farscape IP is owned by Disney the Jim Henson Company. It's most likely that's the possibility there. Anyways,
yeah, it's possible.
Farscape was a high concept cult classic sci fi epic far ahead of its time. 25 years later, it's still captivating the imaginations of fans, new and old, bringing back our bringing back our out of print comics was an easy decision for the milestone anniversary, unquote, said President of Publishing and Marketing Philip uh, Savick, um, or Sablik. Um, Quote, and of course, if we're bringing back our classic Farscape comics, it made sense to tell brand new short stories in the new anniversary special. There is something in this campaign for every Farscape fan, and we are thrilled to be the ones bringing these stories to fans everywhere. Check out the campaign here. There we go. So let's see, where are we at now? Yeah, so
44.
yeah, yeah. So Probably a good time to start getting the wrestling wrap up here and now. So,
Uh,
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 as we're
oh, it says, sounds like Disney boarded it. Yes.
yeah. All right. So with that, so now we're going to get to the wrestling. We're going to work in reversal. Normally, I start with the WWE news and work back to some of the lesser known. But we're going to actually start with start talking about the two events main Major League Wrestling had the other day. Um, Back on Thursday, there were a couple big events. One of them will be shown on YouTube in a couple weeks here, I believe. But let me just go back to that. Grab. So let's see now. Yeah. So the first event, of course, was um, Once Upon a Lifetime, which was held at the Melrose Ballroom. It was taped on the 29th and will be broadcast on YouTube on the 16th. So actually, with that one, I won't go ahead and because I won't spoil it for anybody there. So we won't spoil that because that one's going to actually be for those who may be interested. That'll be shown on YouTube on March the 16th, which will be 1 week from this Saturday. So that's the Once Upon a Time in New York event. Now, Intimidation Games is also held on that same day. It was shown on Thriller TV on that same day. So the opening match saw the MLW World Middleweight title up for grabs as Rocky Romero defended against Mystico. Mystico would defeat Rocky Romero for the MLW World Middleweight title. Then in a New York City tag team street fight, you had the calling members of national openweight champion Ricky Shane Page and Sammy Callahan defeating the duo of Akira and Jay Christ. Former MLW World Heavyweight Champion Alex Kane defeated Bobby Fish by referee's decision. In a match for the MLW World Tag Team titles, the World Titan Federation duo of Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Tom Lawler, that's of course the son of Davey Boy Smith, defeating the Second Gear crew of One Called Manders and Matthew Justice, become the new MLW World Tag Team Champions. Matt Riddle defended the New Japan Pro Wrestling's World Television title on the event against Bad Dude Tito, which he retained. In a $5,000 5-minute challenge non-title match, MLW's World Women's Featherweight Champion Janai Kai defeated Zoe Cannon by referee's decision in 18 seconds. In the main event, Satoshi, in a battle of two Japanese legends, two-time and current and two-time MLW World Heavyweight Champion Satoshi Kojima defeated Minoru Suzuki at the event. So that happened on Thursday. Also happening on Thursday, of course, was the episode of Impact as TNA is preparing for its upcoming Sacrifice pay-per-view this Friday, the 8th. This past Thursday, they had their Impact show on Access, I believe, and we'll go back and talk a little bit about that real quick, over the results and some other notes that came out of that. So let's see, let me find that one there. Okay, let's see, yeah, 10:23. As I said, this Friday's Sacrifice. On this past Thursday's episode of Impact, the 1023rd episode, the opening match saw Steve Macklin with the Rascals in his corner defeat Speedball Mike Bailey, who had his tag partner Trent Seven, the team known as Speedball Mountain, in a match that was set up for Sacrifice between Steve Macklin and Nick Namath. for the former Dolph Ziggler, who's recently over in Japan and recently had won New Japan's global heavyweight title. He'll be bringing that to Sacrifice this Friday to defend that title against Steve Macklin. Jake Something defeated Laredo Kid in 3 minutes 27 seconds. In another match in which there's been a lot of stuff been playing out on the explosion. Joe Hendry and former TNA Digital Media Champion Joe Hendry teamed with former TNA World Heavyweight and X Division Champion Rich Swann, defeated Diener and AJ Francis, the former top dollar in WWE, making his in-ring debut with in-ring debut for TNA. In a match, in a number one contendership match for the TNA Knockouts title, to see who would go on to Sacrifice to face Knockouts champion Jordan Grace. Tasha Steelz and Zaya Brookside ended in a double countout at 5 minutes 16 seconds. But the twist in this is that even though neither of them won, it was basically a double countout. So it was basically a double loss. Okay, they both got caught fighting outside the ring, didn't get back in the ring fast enough, and then Jordan Grace comes out and decides to give both of them a title shot at the same time at Sacrifice, setting up a triple threat match for the Knockouts World Champion between champion Jordan Grace and the two challengers here, Zaya Brookside and Tasha Steelz. Zaya Brookside, for those of you who may not know, the daughter of Robbie Brookside over in England. And in the main event, saw the system of TNA World Champion Moose in his preparation for his upcoming world title defense against Eric Young, teaming with his two partners, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, to defeat Eric Young and the TNA World Tag Team Champions, ABC of Ace Austin, Chris Bay. So now with all that, now to go over the basically the pay-per-view. We'll now move on to the AEW news. And of course, last night was, of course, Sting's retirement match. Let's talk about that, among other things. First off, on the pre-show, on the 0 hour countdown show pre-show, as AEW had its Revolution event from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. On the countdown show, it's on a 12-man tag team match. The Bang Bang Scissors Gang, comprised of AEW World Trios champions, the Acclaimed of Henry Bowens and Max Caster, and Billy Gunn, teaming with the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team champions of the Bullet Club of Jay White and Austin and Colton Gunn. Of course, those are both Billy Gunn's sons. To defeat the team of Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, tag team of Private Party, Isaiah Kazi and Mark Quinn, Satnam Singh, and Willie Mack. And then in the main event of the pre-show, former TBS champion Chris Statlander teamed with Willow Nightingale with Stokely Hathaway in their corner to defeat current TBS champion Julia Hart and Sky Blue. So that was the pre-show. Now onto the main show, Revolution pay-per-view, which saw on that night, on the opening match, Christian Cage retained the TNT title over Daniel Garcia, as Daniel Garcia was without anybody in his corner, as the one person that he wanted in his corner was taken out over the weekend on Collision. Christian Cage, of course, had his patriarchy faction there to help him out, retain the title. Eddie Kingston successfully defended the Continental Crown, basically the Triple Crown title for AEW, the AEW Continental title, New Japan Strong Openweight title, and Ring of Honor World title, over Brian Danielson, and as per pre-match stipulation, Brian Danielson did shake Eddie's hand after the match. In a match to determine the number one contenders All-Star 8-man scramble match, Wardlow outlasted 7 other members, become the next person to get a shot at Samoa Joe. In the one title change of the night, Undisputed Kingdom's Roderick Strong defeated former champ Orange Cassidy. It also brought back the return of former Undisputed member Kyle O'Reilly coming back after 2 years from injury. The Blackpool Combat Club combination of Claudio Castagnoli and John Moxley defeated FTR by referee's decision, as Moxley had put out Dax Harwood after Harwood had lost a lot of blood, putting him in the Bulldog choke to choke him out. Tony Storm retained the AEW Women's World title over Yona Purrazzo. In a battle of members of the Don Callis family, Will Ospreay defeated Konosuke Takeshita at just under 22 minutes. Samoa Joe retained the AEW World title in a 3-way match over Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. It was also reported today that Adam Page may be taking some time off for the next few months from AEW. He's still under contract with AEW, mind you. He just is taking some time off. And in the main event, in a tornado tag match, Darby Allin and Sting in his retirement match here retained AEW World Tag Team titles over the Young Bucks. Of course, Darby Allin and Sting had Sting's sons Garrett and Steve Jr. in his corner, as Garrett and Steve Jr. would come out in variations of Sting's old gimmicks, the original Surfer Sting and the NWO Wolfpack Sting. Now, a tornado match, for those of you who don't know, is when all 4 wrestlers are involved in the match at once. You don't tag in and out. Everybody just goes at it. You still have to pin the guy in the ring, of course, but basically you don't need to tag in and out. They wanted to do it this way because considering that Sting is a 65-year-old man, doing this, having a regular match would probably be a little too taxing for him. So, and it was reported today they did ask Sting what he might do now that he's retired. What he might be. He's already kind of knocked down the idea of being a manager or being what they call an agent or producer backstage.
Yeah.
So nobody will know exactly what Sting will do at this point, but his in-ring career more or less is over. He wanted to come back for one last run, which he did back in, I believe it was 2021 or 2020, age of 61. In other AEW news, there was some rumor going around that Ricky Stark's contract was up with AEW and he's possibly heading to WWE. That has since been debunked. Oh, and I finally remembered what the name of that tag team was between Gallows and Anderson. It's the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers tag team.
Oh. Were they Good Brothers?
The Good Brothers, yeah. That's the name of their tag team. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. When we were talking about Luke Gallows earlier, the guy one of the guys who was paying tribute to Virgil.
Yeah.
Now, in WWE news, of course, as they continue their march towards WrestleMania, Jey Uso recently offered his assistance to Cody Rhodes in his wars with The Rock and Roman Reigns as WWE continues to you know make move towards basically move towards um, WrestleMania, which will be on the April 4th and 5th next month. Um, but on tonight's Monday Night Raw, um, on the night's Monday Night Raw, as they continue their preparations for um, the Monday Night Raw tonight's coming from San Antonio, Texas. Um, Becky Lynch will be taking on Nia Jax, and Drew McIntyre will be taking on Jey Uso. So that's all going on there. So with that, let's move on to get ready to move on to this day in each history. We're actually wow. I got through that a little bit quicker than I thought it. We're only just past the hour mark. Wow. I got all that in just a matter of couple minutes. That was pretty.
Well, about 15 minutes, but
15 minutes? Okay. But
yeah,
anyway, so
or
this last
close to
part we'll go, we're into this day and age. So today being Monday, March the 4th, 2020, 2024, let's take a look back at this day in each history. History! Let me just, let me just see here. Okay. All right. So first off, we're going to head back 40 years ago today on this date. 40 years ago today, back in 1984. On this date, back in 1984, Toei Animation's Video Warrior Laserion premiered on Japanese television on this date back in 1984. So on this date back in 1984, Toei Animation's Video Warrior Laserion premiered on TBS, Tokyo Broadcasting System, not to be confused with Turner Broadcasting System. So apparently, the way this anime was, the anime is set in the future where Earth is unified under a world government called the Earth Federation, and is centered on young middle school student Takeshi Katori and his classmate, best friend, love interest Olivia Lawrence. Takeshi, who began as a mere online game fan, developed a small virtual world with his friend David from New York, in which they played their robot combat game. They would play by sending data together. So basically, this was action, adventure, mecha, science fiction. Basically, on this date, 40 years ago today, Video Warrior Laserion premiered on TBS, Tokyo Broadcasting System station. So, moving on to the next piece, and moving ahead to 1998, on this date, 26 years ago today, the 375th issue of Daredevil, which I believe was Volume 1 of Daredevil. This was the one that started all the way back in 1964, apparently, or whatever. But the 375th issue of Daredevil went on sale on newsstands on this date back in 1998, 26 years ago. Sold for $2.99, 48 pages. Story was With a Little Help from My Friends. Written by Joseph Kelly. Kerry Nord did the penciling. Inking was done by Mike Lipka. Richard Starkings did the lettering. And Christy Shield did the coloring. So there we go with that one. Now moving ahead to 5 years ago, 2019. On this date in 2019, first off, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The main event of the night saw the revival of Scott Dawson Dash Wilder, known in AEW as FTR, defeat Ricochet and Aleister Black, known as Malachi Black by disqualification. Tamina defeated Sasha Banks. Let's see. The tag team of Heavy Machinery, Tucker and Otis, defeated the B Team and the Ascension in a gauntlet match, as well as Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. The opening match saw Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley defeat Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, and Kurt Angle. So, and 2019 is just so nice that, and normally we would say that we're gonna, well, just so nice that we're gonna hit it twice. We are saying that, but normally we'd say it's nice, but this is not one of those, nice things or things that people would not say would be nice as much. But also on this date, 5 years ago today, Luke Perry passed away at the age of 52. Now, of course, why would we be doing? Obviously he's an American actor, also voice actor. He did a few voices. That's why we're doing him, including Napoleon Bree in Biker Mice from Mars. He provided the voice of Sub-Zero in the Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm cartoon, Rick Jones in the 90s Incredible Hulk cartoon, Stuart Waldinger in Pepper Ann, Ponce de Leon in the Clone High episode, little kills, litter kills, literally. Basically, he provided his own, he portrayed himself as well on some episodes of Simpsons and Family Guy, and Johnny Bravo as well. Now, here's another little interesting little note about Luke Perry. His son Jack Perry is also is a pro wrestler who's under contract with, I think, both AEW and New Japan right now.
Cool.
So there we go. So that's all we have for you guys tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow. More Niche News. With that, I thank everybody for being here, and we will see you tomorrow. Oh, actually, I forgot, Rick. I didn't even give you a chance to do an intro tonight. Did you want to do an outro at least? I'm sorry, I forgot to give you. What was that?
If anybody hasn't in the chat, just go check out my. I was just gonna say, if anybody in the chat hasn't, just go check out my newest possible music for video or music technically. Although there's a little bit of pictures with it, go check it out over on my channel. So
All right.
I put the link, but I'd end up probably falling out of the show.
Yeah. But I was kind of my bad too, because I forgot to give you a chance to intro too. So, but anyways, well, thank you everybody, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.